Thank you. I'm happy to be here at the 10th International Conference on Globalization, Entrepreneurship, and Emerging Economies. The title of my presentation is Official Development Assistance for Health and Maternal Mortality in Sub-Saharan Africa. This thing the outcome of this borders on health, which is a component of human capital. We talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about economic activities, but there are two major components of human capital, which is health and education. A well-educated person that is not healthy is just medically invalid, cannot contribute to the economy. If someone is healthy but not educated, the person is likely to be an unskilled worker. So the two must be there. So while we talk about economic growth development, we must talk about health because it's an important component of human capital, and we need it to contribute to economic growth and entrepreneurship. So by way of background to the study, before I go on, I'm Sakiru Oladele Akinbode. I'm a professor of development economics at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Nigeria. I'm also the Deputy Dean of the College of Entrepreneurial and Development Studies at the university. So the background to the study is that the United Nations members came together in year 2000 to foster development, and that was when the issue of Millennium Development Goal, the MDGs, was conceptualized. And the Assembly actually recognized it as a major input into development of any nation, which cannot be overemphasized. And then the target for developing countries, the Assembly viewed it that the developing countries may not be able to meet the target or the Earth target and some other target of the Millennium Development Goal at the end of 2015. And the resolution of industrialized country in the 1960s that about 0.7% of their GNP, that is gross national product, will be given as development assistance to developing nations was reawakened. So, and from there have been inflow of official development assistance, which some people call foreign aid. They also refer to it as foreign aid. There has been inflow into the Sub-Saharan Africa, which comprises mostly of developing countries. So the inflow of foreign aid for health, specifically, not bunching everything together now, has therefore increased since the inception of MDGs and beyond into the succeeding global development goal, which is the Sustainable Development Goal, starting from 2015 to 2030. And the total inflow of foreign aid for health into the region has increased greatly between 2001 and 2021, according to data from the OECD Creditor Reporting System. And the MDG aimed at reducing global maternal mortality ratio by 3/4 by 2015. And, at the end of that 2015, the target was actually not met. And in the Sustainable Development Agenda, which was the Sustainable Development Goal, so health also featured prominently to the extent that the aim is to reduce maternal mortality ratio to 70 per 1,000 live births by 2030. That's the target. And why focusing on maternal mortality ratio is because in most developing countries, women play very significant role in the economy of the household, in small or micro level businesses that are actually moving the economy. So what concerns, when we talk about health, that of women comes first to be addressed. So the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria, as well as bilateral donors, such as the United States Agency for International Development, have directed a lot of resources towards the success of a number of maternal health programs, with declines in maternal mortality rate in some countries. what is the statement of the research problem? We have high maternal mortality rate has been one of the challenges confronting developing countries, and it became worrisome when MDG could not actually achieve its target. And the earth aid to Sub-Saharan Africa has actually increased over time. And still, we have about 66% of global maternal death occurring in Sub-Saharan Africa, with the maternal mortality ratio of about 454 deaths per 100,000 live births in the region as of 2023. This the World Health Organization data, and this is more than the world average, the global average of 197 per 100,000 live births as at 2023. So there is this compelling need to assess the effect of foreign aid for health on maternal mortality in Sub-Saharan African region, to guide policymakers and international donors on the likelihood of impact of future aid. One, then it will directly contribute to the global goal of reducing maternal death and increase and directly result in improved participation of women in entrepreneurship, economic activity, and its growth in the region. So that's the major, that actually formed the major objective of the study, and to test the hypothesis whether health aid actually affects maternal mortality in the region. So in terms of the scope of the study, we know that the United Nations Development Program, that's UNDP, lists about 46 countries as being part of the Sub-Saharan African region, but the World Bank lists about 48. But the study actually intended using all the 48 countries in Sub-Saharan Africa. But we have this incomplete data from Somalia and South Sudan, because South Sudan was actually declared independent in year 2010, and the data covered year 2000 to 2023. So we have incomplete data from those two countries. Eventually, they were dropped. So we have 46 countries, almost all the 46 countries, to ensure robustness of the work. So in terms of methodology, we have the studies adopts the ex post facto research design, because the event has happened. We are only collecting data on what has happened, and it was built on the solo growth model and also on the one augmented by Mankey, Roma, and Will 1992. And the model is specified following the CIO and Edin and some other authors, and specified as saying there, maternal mortality ratio, we have included a lot of control variables. The number of variables is about 10, but we rely on the fact that we have large volume of data, though short here, about 23, 24, about 46 countries. So making the data volume to be very high, so it won't hit up the degree of freedom, and it will not impact on the outcome. Then this is the priori expectation of the model we are running. We expect that health aid will negatively affect maternal mortality ratio, meaning that it will reduce it. Reducing it is better. It's one of the targets. It's what we want. So, and the population growth rate, we believe that increased population is likely to impact positively on maternal mortality ratio, because it puts pressure on the available facilities and resources, and control corruption. We believe that it will actually have negative effects, and government effectiveness. Trade openness is a component of globalization. So because trade can also affect health in terms of supply of medical materials, drugs, and all of those. And in fact, of movement of the people can also transmit diseases. So we have GDP, fertility rate, and physician density. So those are the sources of the data. Some were from World Bank, some are from World Health Organization, UNESCO, and the rest like that. The estimation technique was basically we use descriptive statistics to summarize the data so that we can have it in one view and see the nature of the data, like mean, median, and all of those. Then we have the correlation analysis to have some glance about the relationship between the data, and also we use it to have a small view about possibility of having some econometrics problem in the model that we want to run if we have high correlation among the regressor we should be able to. So the preferred estimation procedure in this study is the system generalized method of movement. This is the system GMM, which is very appropriate for this type of setting. And the justification is listed there because we have large number of time series. I mean, large number of sections, but short time series. So we have 46 countries covering about 23 years for because we use yearly data. Then the GMM method of estimation enables the study to account for potential endogeneity by controlling for unobserved heterogeneity with time invariant omitted variable. This is there. And some other justification is that when you suspect that there is a likelihood of non-strictly exogenous regressors, because some of these regressors can also be seen as dependent variables. So when we have that type of situation, the system GMM will effectively handle such. So not dwelling too much on that. So we move to the post-estimation. We have the serial correlation for AR1, that is auto correlation 1 and 2. And and then we test for the validity of the instrumental variable we use, and the OLS and the fixed effect model was also used. Then we see the summary statistics of the study variable. Of note is the physician density there, where we have 0.24 for Sub-Saharan Africa. That's 0.24 medical doctors per 1,000 population. And the international standard is 1 medical doctor to at least 1,000, to maximum of 1,000 people. So that's a deficit there. And some other things. So that shows the correlation analysis. So we are able to notice that the correlations were not too high. Though some are high, but not too high to call for concern in the estimated model. Going to the result of the two-step system GMM, we saw that the lag of maternal mortality ratio, which appears in the regressor, is significant and is expected, is positive, is expected. And the health aid, which is the main focus of the work, is negative and positive, which is in line with the a priori expectation. And then we have health expenditure, government health expenditure also reduce maternal mortality ratio. Then we have the corruption increasing maternal mortality ratio, which is expected, because when there is corruption in any system, the resources may not be well utilized. Then GDP, per capita GDP, which stands at a proxy for measure of income, also reduce maternal mortality ratio. So, and fertility. Women in Sub-Saharan Africa are more fertile. They give birth to more children. So that causes a lot of maternal mortality. The summary of the major findings is that health aid, domestic health expenditure, and per capita GDP significantly reduced maternal mortality ratio in Sub-Saharan Africa, while fertility rate and corruption significantly increased MMR in the region. Trade openness, which is an indicator of globalization, had no significant effect on maternal mortality in the region. And the key recommendations were that there should be improved effectiveness in the utilization of foreign aid to the health sector in order to significantly reduce maternal mortality ratio in the region. And the government in the region should also increase domestic health expenditure, because we saw that this actually contributed well to reduction in maternal mortality ratio and to fight corruption, and policy that will increase economic growth were advocated. Thank you for listening.